Let's be clear about something. There's a big difference between being assertive and being aggressive. But in today's world, especially in boardrooms, brainstorms, and LinkedIn comment sections, those lines get blurry. Fast. Last week I sat with a designer. Smart guy. Talented. And suddenly, out of nowhere, he says with absolute confidence, everyone who starts a business does it to prove themselves. And I just sat there thinking, really? All of them? Everyone? Now look, I've worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs, from mission-driven idealists to people who just wanted out of a job they hated. And yeah, some are driven by ego, but many are driven by purpose, by pain, by necessity, by the quiet desire to create something better than what they inherited. So I pushed back, respectfully, but directly. And I could tell he didn't see it coming. Not just because I disagreed, but because I dared to question his beautifully polished, completely unfounded opinion. And that's the thing. Assertiveness isn't about volume. It's not about sounding sure. It's about standing up with just enough force to be felt without knocking someone over. But lately, I see this trend, especially in younger professionals. Confident tone, shaky content. Having an opinion is seen as impressive in itself, regardless of whether it's grounded in anything at all. And yes, I get it. We want to be heard. We want to matter. We want to speak up. But here's the trap. If we confuse boldness with wisdom, we stop listening. We stop learning. And we start faking clarity instead of cultivating it. I've seen leaders do the same, stating things as facts because it feels true, because it sounds powerful, because silence feels weak, and the moment someone dares to challenge it, boom, aggression. Let me make this simple. Assertiveness creates space. Aggression shuts it down. Assertiveness says, this is how I see it. What do you think? Aggression says, I'm right. End of story. Now here's where it gets tricky. Sometimes it's not the speaker, it's the listener. I've worked with leaders who are clear, calm, respectful, and still the message hit like a slap. Why? Because the person receiving it carried baggage, an old tone, a memory, a trigger. The leader says, we need to talk about your performance. And the receiver hears, you're failing. You're not good enough. Again, same sentence, different history, different nervous system. This is where resilience comes in. Because communication doesn't happen in words. It happens in interpretation. So if you want assertiveness to land well, you need two things. Clarity from the speaker, resilience from the listener. And that balance, that's where trust lives. I'll never forget my friend Stephen, an entrepreneur with a sharp eye and an even sharper ear. Every time we worked on a campaign together, he'd ask everyone for input. The intern, the janitor, the delivery guy. It drove me crazy. Until I asked him, why do you want feedback from people who know nothing about branding? And he said, because they don't know the rules, which means they don't have the same blind spots. That hit me, because being assertive also means being open. You can have a strong opinion and still leave room for someone to surprise you. That's real power. Now look, it's fine to say, this doesn't feel right to me. But don't say, this will never work. Unless you've done the work to know what you're talking about. You're not less valuable if you say, I'm not sure, but I have an idea. In fact, you're probably more respected for that kind of clarity, because confidence isn't about knowing everything. It's about knowing what you know and being honest about what you don't. So here's the bottom line. Say what you mean. Know what you're saying. And don't confuse noise with leadership. Speak with clarity, not just conviction. Listen with openness, not just tolerance, because that's how we build teams that trust each other. That's how we lead without shouting. That's how we grow without pretending.